Hey mutants, welcome to Echoed Influence. I'm Anthony Spartacus Tamayo.
And I'm April Betty Rodriguez, and today we're going to talk about
Slick
slick
shit
shit killers. When I think of slick shit killers, I think of someone who's like sly, charismatic, charming. Not so
Yeah.
much they aren't really strong, but they rely more on their skill. Not that they're not strong, but that's not their strength, I should say.
Yeah, to say the least. Yeah, they probably rely more on their cunning and speed and everything else but strength.
How would you describe a slick shit killer?
Well, for me, the Slick Shit Killer is a favorable character for me. I had to break them up into categories. So I have stealthy, calm in the chaos, favorable in speed, and hybrids. Now, before I go into those, I'm gonna speak on one of the OG slick shit killers. Jack the Ripper in 1888 was just on a killing spree in London, and it was known that this guy who had skills in surgery. They theorized that he was a doctor, just because of how precise his cuts were and how he disemboweled them and everything. And Jack the Ripper, as a slick shit killer, he did it all very under the radar and stealthy. So that's the first category we're going to go into. Stealthy. Now, we got some stealthy characters here for you to go over. We got Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell. We got Solid Snake from Metal Gear. We have 007, James Bond. We have Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow. Now, first, I want to go over Sam Fisher. Now, I've played Splinter Cell a couple times, and the whole game is you not being seen by your enemy. Like, the better you are at that, the more...
Easier it is for you to get through the game.
Yeah, in a sense. But you get more gadgets, you get more things, you get more points, you get more unlocks if you do it stealthy, So the point of the game is to try and do it stealthy. And yes, in a sense, you will have an easier time taking dudes out quietly, patiently, instead of just going out there and trying to blast your way out of it. When I was thinking of Sam Fisher, you couldn't help but think of Solid Snake. And I remember first playing that game on PlayStation. And I know there was a game before that, but I first played it on PlayStation. And if you played it before, that the whole first part of it is you just trying to lure dudes in and assassinate them. Or I remember just handing down the wall, knocking on the wall, and then going around it and choking a dude out, snapping his neck, and then you get a gun, and then you get a taser, and then you start obtaining shit. You have a little box that you hide into,
Yeah.
and then the game is so cool because you start off as a slick shit killer, and you're like, he's using that talent to take down incredible enemies with incredible feats and everything like that. So I really like Solid Snake. He's just a part of the Punisher to me,
I feel like the characters in this category have a certain, how do I say it, reserve to them. They're not so flashy. They're a little more modest, I would say.
Well, see, and then we can go into 007, the guy who is a little flashy, but he is under the radar in the Flash. That's part of his chameleon.
Yeah.
That's part of his change.
Yeah.
So I love 007 too. I gotta admit that I love Jason Bourne a little more. But Jason Bourne's not really... He is stealthy.
Yes.
But he's very
More rugged, I'd say.
yeah, not just that. When he is stealthy, he promotes his stealth. He had somebody in his crosshairs when he was aiming at them, and he's like, yeah, I'm aiming at you. And then he's like, look over here. He's like, see, I'm aiming at you. I'm gonna kill you. Okay, I get it. You're pretty good. He's very...
He can be stealthy, but
he chooses not to. Yes, exactly. He chooses the more what's gonna get it done better.
Yeah.
These stealthy guys, I feel like they have a little bit of style to them too.
Yeah.
Even though it's part of the job and everything, but it's Black Widow, she just does it. She doesn't have to be so fucking cool when she does it. She just does, she just is.
Yeah.
And I just really quick, Black Widow and Scarlett Johansson and her stunt doubles and everything. I remember watching Civil War, I think, and that's one of my favorite movies. And watching the choreograph, it's just so fantastic. It really fits Black Widow as a fighter. A lot of people don't want to give Scarlett Johansson any recognition as a formidable character. And it is, though. She truly is. She can fight, and she could do every bit Hawkeye can. You know what I mean?
I see, yeah, because they were a team, right?
Yeah, they are a team. And, she could do every bit that he can do. And we've talked about this in earlier episodes, how Hawkeye would beat Batman. So it's you gotta at least give her a little bit more credit than she's just a woman who's looking for attention. You know what I mean? Black Widow is a real awesome stealthy fighter, more than she is brutal. Like, you know, she's not as strong as guys like the Punisher, but when she fights Frank Castle or Nick Fury or guys who are always stronger than her, she finds those pressure points. She finds where she's faster than them at and uses it against them. Like,
Has Scarlett Johansson got a lot of criticism as Black Widow?
when Disney started to promote the idea that she could have her own solo movie, you know, fans in the columns. Same thing they did with Captain Marvel, you know, they just kind of try and downplay it because she's a female, and like they're trying to say nobody wants to see that, and it's like, dude, I want to see that. You read the comic books and shit. The comic books of Black Widow are incredible. They're very drama, you know.
Well, and Scarlett Johansson is such a great actress. I would love just to see any movie that she's in, honestly. Can you tell me a little bit more about the Calm in the Chaos characters?
In Calm in the Chaos, we have characters like Dante, Deadpool, Gambit, John Wick, the Joker, Selene from Underworld. So when I played Devil May Cry, this was before God of War for me too, mind you. And Dante was a really awesome, likable character. Like, he was too cool to ever be in a frustrated mood. He's a son of a demon named Sparta. And so he possesses demon-like powers, and he uses them to hunt down other monsters and other demons and vampires, and it's awesome. So the whole game is you doing that, and the earth starts to merge with hell and the underworld and stuff. So you're like the front lines fighting it, and it's cool. I call it Calm in the Chaos because hell is literally eating him up, and he is just so calm, and he's actually in some cases having a good time. He's smiling most of the time as he's shooting demons in the sky and chopping them up, and he's obtaining more weapons, more powers. Like, it is such an awesome game and a great story. And Dante is such a, like, as the pinnacle of too cool to be worried, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you can't help but think of other characters that slice and dice and just keep going forward and enjoying themselves. Deadpool, you know, all-time favorite character. He can't die, and he enjoys himself so much that he annoys his opponents. And I mean, I gotta say, that's a power in its own. Like, his shit talking ability is just like, I don't think it's a power that he gets enough credit for, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know Deadpool to be like one of the more slick shit killers from the video games, from the movies, from the comic books. He is he's a guy that never really loses his cool. But we have talked about before how, like, when he is serious, he gets serious. But, you know, Calm in the Chaos, always having a good time. While we're in the Marvel world, I wanted to talk about Gambit. Gambit is a dude who is, you know, he's always going to war against the X-Men, with the X-Men. No matter what he's doing, he is smooth talking women while he's fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That doesn't get more charismatic than that. You know, I know the movie is supposed to come out. I don't know how on board Channing Tatum is, but, you know, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move on and find somebody who's willing to put forth the effort that Scarlett Johansson and Robert Downey Jr. is putting into. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure if you gave, like, some actor a chance, like when I finally saw Lost, and I'm not a huge fan of Sawyer, but I'm pretty sure the actor, he could change his persona. He has the right accent and everything. Like, just needs to work on it. You know, the guy can do accents, and all I'm saying is that Sawyer would be a really good Gambit. It's a guy who's given an opportunity to make himself known, and he'll definitely take that chance and run with it, like Tom Holland did, you know, being Spider-Man. So all I'm saying is that let's get Gambit on track. Let's see a good Gambit movie. I don't care for Channing Tatum anymore. If he wants to be on board, fine. Let's fucking do it, though. Another guy that comes to mind in the Calm in the Chaos is John Wick. John Wick is a guy who's just I see him fight, getting shot, stabbed, and he still, like, rocks the suit. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's his that's the symbolism in it. You know, that's why he wears the suit, because he doesn't want them to ever know that he's actually hurt.
I see.
And, you know, maybe it's Keanu Reeves, but his face never really changes, you know, like he's never stressed out. Like, when he gets stabbed, yes, he makes a face and everything, but he gets the fucking job done, and like, he does it in the coolest, calmest way possible. He doesn't try and make a lot of noise, but, you know, he just happens to. And then, you know, back to the comic book world, the Joker. Now, there's a guy, he's not just calm in the chaos, he thrives in it. You know, like, he creates it, he self-sustains in it, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that really breaks his concentration towards having a good time. You know, which is you kind of wonder, like, does Joker even have concentration? And it's like, yeah, he has definitive focus and what his pleasures are. You know what I mean? So Joker is definitely one of the calm in the chaos ones. And finally, I want to talk about Selene from Underworld. She is too cool to be fucking scared. You know what I mean? There's werewolves, different types of vampires coming at her, like hybrid vampire werewolves. She even has to fight sometimes, and it's so cool because, like, yes, sometimes she gets stressed when things start to come at her and stuff, but the shell that she is, like, stays cool and calm. Like, reminds me of Blade. You know, Blade, he's another calm in the chaos dude, you know? Like, there's just so many monstrosities coming at you all at once, and you're wearing shades, you're fucking wearing leather, and you're just slicing and dicing. I would love nothing more than to see a Selene and Blade team up. That'd be so cool. I would love that.
So for the calm in the chaos, I have two. Before we move on to the next category, I have two, actually three, that I think belong here. The first one is Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop, who is a bounty hunter, a space bounty hunter.
Nice.
And he just has this, like, his fighting style that feels very flowy. You know, it's martial arts, and so he's...
I'm assuming, like, it takes part in the future.
You know, I don't know if it's future or just alternate universe.
Oh.
But he's... Earth exists, and it seems like it's similar to our reality. And it could be futuristic, but he's just this always has a line, always has something to say, something smooth or funny, or, you know, I like him as a character similar to what I think Deadpool is. He has flaws. You know, he's flawed and he's not always perfect, but when he is cool, he's cool, you know?
Does he, like, thrive also, like, in his flaws? Like, when he fucks up, does he go, like, don't even worry about it? Or just, like, he gets embarrassed?
He kind of no, he doesn't really get embarrassed. I think he just kind of just tries to go, keeps going forward.
Yeah, because, like, guys like Deadpool and him, like, they don't really get embarrassed. You know, they're too cool to be embarrassed, remember?
The other one I think of, which is very similar to Spike Spiegel, I feel like it's him in a... like if Rick and Morty traveled to another universe, you know, like I think it's Mugen from Samurai Champloo, who's same kind of like goofy style, but like has even though he messes up or is goofy, he always seems to do the job, you know. He gets the guy he needs to get, and
like he needs to enjoy himself in order to really activate his like his power. Yeah.
And the third one that comes to mind when I think of the slick shit killer is actually someone who's more in the favorable in speed category.
Yes.
And that would be Legolas from Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. He's not so much charismatic as he is kind of smooth. Like, you know.
He's really focused.
Yeah.
And like above all, like duty comes before looking cool.
Yeah.
But there's like it's like right there. Yes, yeah. He just happens to look cool sometimes.
Yes, while doing his duty.
I play a lot of video games and stuff, and two characters that come to mind from the same brand of video game is from the Assassin's Creed. Ezio and Altair. I know there's a lot more guys like Connor and all those guys, but I just, you know, those are the games I played, and specifically know that not only they have a good story and everything, but they all have a connection. Like there's a underground, I don't want to call it a cult, but like there's like a bunch of assassins that have been trained over and over for years and generations and stuff. And no matter what time, it could be like, you know, BC, AD, it could be Civil War, it can be in Jerusalem. It's all like stealth and using your resources to the best of your ability, which is so cool. Like, you know, you have the bow, and then once you're Ezio in a time where it's like where Italy, it's like old timey Italy. Think Pinocchio, you know, and there's barely gunpowder, and they manufacture cool things for you to stealthily kill somebody. So it's like a gun on your hand, and it's like, oh, that makes sense, you know, like that could happen, you know. So everything that is there in the modern time, whatever is disposable at that time, you use. It's real. I really like it, you know, throwing knives and throwing ninja stars and spears and guns, and you know, it all evolves, and the timelines are right perfect. So you're wondering as a player, like when they get to you in the future, what's going to happen? Like what kind of futuristic Assassin's Creed are we going to get, you know? And that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. There's another comic book character in Marvel named Azazel, who's named after that an angel from the Bible who took pleasures in the mortal world, let's just say that. And Azazel is like Nightcrawler. You know, he disappears and he's able to like just slice you up from your back and you not even know him being there. I remember in the movie, he would disappear, pick up, grab somebody, and disappear and end up like 50 stories in the air and just drop you. You know, and like there's like dudes ready to shoot you, so he would disappear, end up behind them, slice them in the back. Like, he was awesome. I mean, he was a bad guy, but I mean, damn, he was undeniable. And the last one that I wanted to go over was my favorite character from Game of Thrones, Arya Stark. Now, I love the grit of this character. She started off as favorable before she even like really held a sword to me. I remember Ned Stark sitting her down and saying, like, planning out her life and stuff, like, yeah, you're gonna marry this guy. And she's like, no, that's not me. And I was like, dude, I'm a fan, definitely a fan. And as she grew, you didn't expect any less than where she is right now. You know, you're just like, yes, 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 yes. No, fuck love, get the job done. You know what I mean? And she relies on her speed. Remember when she fought Brienne of Tarth? Like, that's when she really proved herself, I think. Like, she is ready to fight. She beat the person who beat the Hound, you know, like with speed. And no matter how strong she would swing at her, I remember she kicked Arya, she went flying. And that's the only downfall of like relying on your speed, and it's all you have, you know.
Yeah.
And so I remember her using her little needle, and she freaking just started to poke the fuck out of her. And her whole fighting career was that, fighting people bigger and better than her. And, you know, it kind of reminds me of Kick-Ass, except with she has actual skill. And so this brings us to our final category, the hybrids. You know, quiet and brutal. For them, it could go either way. So one of the guys I was talking about with April, Riddick from Pitch Black, Chronicles of Riddick, and the movie Riddick. The guy is definitely a slick shit killer. He's called a slick shit killer in one of his movies even. Yeah, like I said, like he can there's an army that invades this planet and he just systematically takes them all out without ever being seen. And then there's times where he's taking on, in the movie Pitch Black, where he's taking on what seem to be like these raptor hammerhead alien things that will rip you to shreds. And when like I said, when he's pushed against the wall, these are things that will tear apart many men at a time. And he killed like 9 of them, like just brutally murdered them. And so he went from like silent assassin to fucking Conan brutally murdering these things. So, like Riddick I think they need to make more of those movies. Like, I don't think he got his proper shine. I think they could reboot the whole thing and not use someone else. You know, Vin Diesel, I guess, was a little bit of a themed actor, you know, Fast and the Furious, Triple X. So maybe they didn't take it as serious. So I think they just need to give it another go. I love the character Riddick. And that brings me to one of my favorite comic book characters, the Punisher. Now, there's a guy I was talking to April about this too, because we weren't really sure whether to put him up here or not. But he is quite the silent killer when he needs to be. Like, he can get in and out of a whole mission without ever being
Very
seen.
stealthy.
Yes, if the mission calls for it, definitely he can definitely do it. He'll even put on a disguise if he has to. But yes, you know, you back that guy in the corner and that's the last corner you'll ever see. You know what I mean? Like, he fucking brutally murders you if you fucking make things too difficult for him. And that's one of his MOs. It's like, don't get out of my way or I'm going to kill you. And, you know, I know a lot of people might disagree with me on this one, but I think Elektra is quiet and brutal. Like, she was trained by the Hand, and she was also...
Which gives her stealth.
Yes, she mastered every single style since the kid. Like, every style she mastered, she learned a new one, and then she trained by the Hand on top of that. So she has brutality skills and stealth skills, but like I said, when she's pushed up against the corner, she gets brutal with those sais. You know, she starts getting fucking crazy with them, and it's one of the things that attracted her to the Punisher, and the Punisher attracted to her. you know, that they ended up hooking up because of the brutality that they seen in one another. You know, it wasn't just brutality, it was like the pain and that they shared and everything. It's Thunderbolts, guys, read it, it's really good.
The character that I think of in the hybrid category is Beatrix Kiddo from Kill Bill.
Nice.
Yeah, I think she definitely has a stealth to her from her training, and
Like almost like a ninja or samurai, right? Like
Yes.
everybody she trained with was very like,
but as we could see, she can be very brutal when it comes to, you know.
yeah, talk about Achilles slipping and killing people in one swipe. That chick definitely does that.
And she's similar to the characters earlier where you were saying that they don't have to try to be cool, they just kind of look cool.
Yeah, they just happen to be cool.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another breed too. I think like it's a hybrid, but like you just like all of these guys, they just happen to look cool doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Blood on her face and stuff. It started quiet. It would have ended quiet too if you guys just would have fucking did what she told you to do.
It's funny.
So that brings us to our fantastical fan favorite. Today's Into Realm Rumble, we got two slick shit killers ready to face off. One from the calm and the chaos category, and one from the hybrids category. Okay, we got Riddick versus John Wick. Now, like we said, Riddick, that dude, stealthy killer, but he's brutal. He's very strong too. Like he overpowers the normal man. What's cool about the movies of Riddick is that it's in a whole different universe. You know what I mean? It's kind of like Star Wars-y. But yeah, he's taken on an intergalactic army. He's killed this. It's like an intergalactic spirit, and this guy like harnesses this power of the Underverse and stuff like that. And it's fucking crazy. And he's taken on things that are like he's been shot at, and he's taken those guys who shot at him. He's taken them out with like daggers and knives and stuff like that. And then on the other side, you got John Wick. John Wick, who has projectiles, which already gives him a really good, advantage. He has guns. And one thing I don't understand about John Wick is that he never wears proper armor. You're already wearing the suit and everything, and you know you're gonna get fucked up. Why don't you wear some armor? And the thing is, John Wick has a lot of good drive, but like I think that's a requirement from all these people. Everybody has drive. Everybody can get hurt and keep going and everything. And that's Riddick also, I forgot to mention that he can see at night. Like he wears the goggles, which if John Wick can get a hold of that, he can blind him, and then they fight. But if they're fighting at night, that's John Wick's ass. Like definitely. Personally, I see Riddick winning this fight.
I love John Wick and I love Keanu Reeves and I love all that, but if you put these two characters together in a fight, I feel like Riddick has a supernatural aspect to him that gives him a slight advantage over John Wick. So
yeah, and they're both dog lovers, by the way. Like it's just that like, if you notice that I showed you in Riddick that he had made friends with this like freaking space wolf. And then another movie with Riddick, he has an actual dog that he raised from a puppy.
Aww.
It's like it looks like a dog. It's not a dog, but it looks like. And so yeah. And then you got John Wick who lost his dog and his thing, and that's what happened in that movie is that they killed Riddick's dog and he fucking started kicking all kinds of ass. So that was before. Yeah, they definitely have something to go. Just one will travel the fucking cross the galaxy to go kill those dudes, which he did. Yeah, we got Riddick being the definitive winner. We'll put up a poll if you guys want to say something or think something different, but I say Riddick wins this one, guys. Woo, Riddick. Again,
and also let us know if you think we missed any slick shit killers. If there's some characters that you love that you think should be in the categories, let us know. Send us a DM or comment on our posts.
That would be awesome. Like I want to see what everybody else thinks, and
Yeah.
because usually that's where we get a lot of our material from is just talking to people. Can't wait to see what you guys put.
Before we close up our episode, I thought we could end it with a EI recommend.
Well, my birthday had just passed, and so there was a lot of reason to buy certain things.
Celebrate.
So I had a friend come over from one of my parties, and he got me Into the Spider-Verse. And let me tell you guys, like I didn't know what to expect because it's an animation, and I've heard great things about it, from kids, and that's my fault for not taking the kids' opinion super serious.
Yes, yeah.
And so I'm watching it, and I gotta say, for me, the best Spider-Man movie I've ever seen. Like just because it has a lot of callbacks and a lot of references, and it's Miles Morales. It's nobody Parker. You know, it's no parody of Parker. It's Miles Morales. He's his own Spider-Man, as if it could have happened to anybody. You know, so and that what's cool about the whole movie is I see it passing the torch onto the future. You know what I mean? Like Spider-Man will always be Spider-Man, and he'll always be the best version of that Spider-Man. But this is Miles Morales, and there's no other version of him. That's why he's not a Parker. Like he saved all the other Spider-Men, you know, by putting all the dimensions back in order. You know, and so that was really cool. I really loved the music.
Mm-hmm.
I loved I love the culture and the family that you feel in the movie and stuff
With
like
all
that.
the spider characters.
Yeah, and not just that, Miles Morales and his family too. Like you know the drama that went on between there and everything, and the unification. That was really cool.
I really like the fact that the storyline seemed evolved in the fact that they included all these multiple dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it feels like the storyline's evolving with us. You know, like now comic books include all these other universes.
Yes, and all these different versions of Spider-Man that we can relate to. Like,
Yes,
there's us that
yes.
now we don't relate to the kid Spider-Man, the one that's growing up and into high school and into college. We don't relate to that. We relate to the Spider-Man that broke up with his girl and like now he's trying to, you know, he's a little overweight.
It's
and
like a timeline of Spider-Man at the same time, and it's a complicated storyline, but it's so interesting, and it really just draws you in.
Yes. I remember watching the movie and seeing Spider-Man face off against Green Goblin. And Green Goblin was always a guy that was flying on a jetpack, right? Or like a little jet. And this goblin was as big as a fucking dragon. He had dragon wings. He was flying and he was still throwing those grenades. And that was the evolution
But you
of that
still
goblin.
knew who it was.
Yeah, you still definitely knew. And it was awesome. Oh my God. Like, that was so cool to see. And like I said, I love seeing the little guy start making the big guy a little bit worried. You know what I mean? Like, he was fighting the goblin like nothing. Like, he's not a slick shit killer, but this dude, Spider-Man, is slick. He was just talking shit the whole time, calm, punching the shit out of him. Like, it was awesome to see. Like, once you started seeing Spider-Man fight this big old dragon, you kind of thought, oh man, like, I think Goblin's in trouble. At first, you're a little scared for him because you just see him fly into that big old crate.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing him fighting him, and you're like, oh man, Goblin's getting backed up into the ropes. It's pretty fucking cool.
You're right, and it was really interesting that you were saying earlier because Miles Morales is his own Spider-Man, and you're right, it is passing the torch because there was the blonde, blue-eyed, perfect,
Yes.
Spider-Man passing the torch on to this
Racial kid,
yes, showing like you're the new
Spider-Man.
Yes.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it so much, and I highly recommend it, guys. Go check it out. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think of the soundtrack too, because I've been listening to it since I've seen it. For my birthday, AP took me on a very special day where she took me to my favorite restaurant where we ate the greatest sandwiches at the East Side Deli, and then we went to After's Ice Cream Shop where I had it was a Rick and Morty themed ice cream shop, and I had a ice cream that was the same color as the portal from Rick and Morty. Oh my God, it was so good. And then she took me to a comic book shop called Quest. And that's a really amazing comic book store there. I really
cool.
loved it. She bought me a lot of awesome comics. She bought me
It's nice when when Frankenstein's is closed.
Yeah. And so she bought me one of them was Marvel Knights, and I read it, and it was so good. It's basically like the Daredevil and the Punisher, Wolverine, Captain America, all of these guys, they lost their minds. They don't know who they are, where they come from. They don't even know their names, but they're all trying to snap back into it, and even Bruce Banner's in it. So the Punisher and Bruce Banner are going around trying to knock people back into their own self, even though they're not fully, aware of who they are yet, but they got a better idea than most. And even you think Kingpin is behind all the whole thing, you think but even he doesn't know who he is. You find out later towards the end of that comic, the first issue. And it's very, very complex. It's very cool. For me, it was a little bit emotionally draining because you feel very bad for Matt Murdock. I mean, the first page you open, Karen Page's grave is right there. Karen Page, and he has no idea why she died or who she is, but he knows he hurt so much for this woman. And to wake up, wake up being mostly blind, not knowing who you are, like, it's a scary feeling. So all in all, it's a very good comic book. I also got turned on to X-Man, and this is a dude from an alternate universe in the Uncanny X-Men, and he kind of looks like Jesus, but with one glowing eye, like if Cable, like it's a Cable's brother, and it's DNA that Mister Sinister took from Cyclops and Phoenix herself, and he manufactured this mutant, and they call him X-Man, and this dude can basically, he's like another Scarlet Witch or even a Doctor Manhattan. Like he can manipulate and do everything. So it's a really good comic. He's somebody that I hope to cosplay in upcoming events. So look out for that, guys.
Before we go, I wanted to remind everybody that we have some events coming up. The first one is our Game of Thrones premiere night, which is April 14th, and that'll be from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Collab Incorporated. It's only $15. It's just $15. Includes a Game of Thrones style feast with a White Walker drink. We'll be doing trivia and a discussion afterwards, and it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. You're definitely going to want to come out for that one. Later that week, we have game night on April 19th, which is Friday, from 6 to 9 p.m., and that's also at the Collab. That one is only $10, and a pre-sale ticket will get you pizza, snack, and a drink, as well as the opportunity to sign up for our Smash Brothers, Injustice, or Mortal Kombat 10 tournament.
Yes, you'll get priority. If you sign up, if you get your pre-sale ticket and everything, you'll get priority in the bracket. If you show up the day of, everybody else who already paid for a ticket will get priority. But if you want to reserve a spot at least and let us know you're coming,
that'll be helpful.
Yeah.
And we'll still have pizza, food, and snacks. We'll be selling them if you don't buy your pre-sale ticket.
Yeah, we'll still have something there for you guys to eat and buy.
The game night will also have free play games. So if you don't want to play in the tournament, we will also have board games and other free play.
Games.
Yes,
yeah, free play video games on the side that you can just battle your friends at, and
just for fun. Yeah,
warm up for the next tournament if you wanted to.
And speaking of tournaments, we're going to be having the winners will be receiving a belt that we are going to make.
Belt, yeah.
Yes, and we will be doing mystery boxes for each of the tournament winners.
Nice. I'm also still training at the Ludus. I have a new $5 daily rate for those who can't make it all the time. You still want to get some training in. Like I said, guys, you'll be around a lot of competitive, like-minded people. I just had one of my students go to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym and came back with great results. And, we've been training for maybe the better half of 4 months, and he's been taking on the blue belts and stuff, and he's doing great. So, guys, come out and learn something with us, and I'll be happy to train you, and I'll be happy to even learn something from you if you know something. I also do massage therapy. I'm a certified massage therapist for Hands of Apollo. Go ahead and look me up on Instagram. I'm at the Collab on Wednesdays from 4 to 6 p.m. if you want to test it out before you actually get a massage. I do free house calls to anybody who lives in Pico Rivera or the surrounding cities. I also do parties and get-togethers for the rates of $150 for 2 hours, guys. So DM me, let me know if I can help you, give you a massage, but that's about it. Thank you guys for joining us, and it's a real pleasure to talk about all these cool little characters and give you this information, guys. And thank you guys so much for sticking with us.
And don't forget to comment and tell us if we forgot any of your favorite slick shit killers.
Nice. And subscribe, follow, share, comment, let us know what you think, guys. And thank you guys. You guys have a good night. Peace. She did it.